I spent so many years unhappy because I didn't get Forbes 30 under 30. Like that really bothered me. And it was still like.
By the way, Raj just got it.
Yeah, I know, I saw it. Great, good for him. I'm not bitter. I'm not bitter. Fuck that guy.
Hey Sahil.
How are you?
Good to meet you.
Good to meet
I'm
you.
good.
How are you? Hey, good to meet you.
How has been in India so far?
Good.
After how long you have come?
It's been 4 years since
4
I've been here.
years.
My mother grew up in Bangalore. Mm-hmm. Yeah, my parents are here and my grandmother's here. So yeah.
Are you enjoying your time after so long?
Yeah, very good. The traffic's bad. It's great. I'm excited to be here.
Hey dude,
Hey, how are you?
good to see you, man.
Good to see you. Where do you want me to put it?
Plug it in. Flip it around so that you're not promoting road for no reason.
No, I need to hear a little bit more about GrowthSchool and what you're building. I was with Tanmay last night.
Tanmay is a very good friend.
So he was excited that I was coming to see you.
So what we're doing with GrowthSchool is get folks from Facebook, Google, Microsoft, Amazon, whatever it is. Folks who are doing the job that you want to do tomorrow, learn from them. We give you tech, we give you a playbook, and more importantly, we solve distribution for you.
Okay.
Let's go meet the team.
Cool.
This is usually where we hang out with guests. Ideally, we should be doing it here.
Yeah.
But just because it gets so noisy, and this is more like a little cafeteria place, which is also a standing desk. This is our wall of love.
Oh, nice.
Where we keep clicking pictures, and probably your picture would go here as well.
Cool.
This is like I said, it started from LinkedIn, right? This was my first LinkedIn workshop when we didn't know it would be GrowthSchool one day.
Yeah, this is cool. What a cool story.
Hey guys, hello. Meet Sahil. Probably must have seen him on Twitter. Meet our team.
Nice to meet everyone.
This is something we're doing it for the first time. I've been planning to do this forever. I pitched this to Ankur first, and Ankur was like, yes, dude, we'll do it for sure. Yeah. And then it never happened. You're gonna get a lot of very cool people like Sahil to address all of it. And the idea here is Sahil has had a very interesting past. Consider this to be a podcast, but with live audience. How cool is that? So dude, like Sahil, first of all, thanks for being here, man.
Thank you for having me.
The first question that I think of is, look at this audience, right? Super young, and all of them, in some form or fashion, want to become creators of some sort, while having the full-time job. Please don't leave the jobs yet. You also started in the same way, right?
Yeah.
You had a full-time job, middle of pandemic, you started. How did that go?
Yeah, I think the most interesting thing about the creator economy, if you will, is you can do it alongside other things that you're working on. It doesn't have to be this full-time switch where you leave everything that you're focused on and take this massive risk to like quit your job and go and be a creator. The way of the future is that you can start to do it alongside. You can start to build, and you can take all the things you're learning from your full-time job and share that experience uniquely with new people that are out there. Because there's so many people who would kill to be in your shoes. Like you have this cool job, you're working at a cool startup. There's so many people, millions and millions of people in India, young people who are super excited about what you're doing on a daily basis. And so being able to just share that is an easy way to just get started.
Like how did you kind of transition, right? You had a full-time job?
Yeah. I was working a full-time job at an investment fund in California. I went to Stanford and then took a job right near the campus there. And I was working like 80 to 100 hours a week, like the crazy finance job. I was just working basically.
You still are.
Yeah. I started because COVID happened and then I was stuck at home. I wasn't commuting into the office. I wasn't traveling all the time. And so I had all this time on my hands. Basically, I had always loved writing. My mom was a big writer and always kind of taught me to find this joy and love of writing. And so I started writing and started sharing more. What I found was that basically 6-9 months after I started, I had built what was a pretty large audience, and I was starting to make money from it, from my newsletter, from the course that I had done, from a couple businesses that I had started. And so it was all of a sudden like I was making more money on this random little weekend project than I was at my supposedly high-paying finance job. And yet I was still working 80 to 100-hour weeks and like miserable on the thing in finance. But I was really enjoying being a creator. And the biggest challenge for me, frankly, was like the idea of me quitting my finance job to like be writing on the internet. My mom was like, what the hell are you talking about? Like, what do you mean you're gonna do that? And I still laugh about it now because like, the Indian mother in her is like, she wanted me to go to business school or go to medical school or, go join McKinsey or whatever. Like that was the path that she envisioned. We live in a very different world than our parents lived in. You can go and build your own universe, your own ecosystem, and build a life that you really want rather than the one that other people think you should have. So that was kind of my own journey with it. I mean, when I quit, I probably had 150,000 Twitter followers maybe. My newsletter was 25,000 maybe at the time.
Anshika, don't get excited. Anshika has like some 200,000 YouTube subscribers.
Oh man.
She's an engineer.
Yeah.
Man, like I've been a small creator myself. And as we started Growth School, my creator side of things helps us to grow and do things better at Growth School. So every time the revenue is slightly down for the month, they would come to me saying, Vaibhav, do this, so that we can hit the month's revenue. One of the biggest reasons why we managed to get some really interesting investors onto board was my distribution. Also, I would be a nobody. How has this changed your life from being a financial boring guy, making a lot of money, I'm sure, to becoming a full-time creator? How has your life changed? Did you get tapped at the airport?
Yeah. There's enormous leverage to having distribution and to having a brand. The greatest companies now aren't hiring from resumes, they're hiring from your Twitter profile. Because you can see how someone thinks and you can see how they think about the world, how they share their ideas, how they distill their thoughts into, a piece of writing or into a video. And that's so powerful. And when you have now the credibility established by having built an audience, people assume certain things about you, whether it's right or wrong, right? Like I see your LinkedIn profile, I see you have a lot of followers there. I assume you're smart, I assume you're successful, I assume 100 things about you that may or may not be true. And so when you go and reach out to me, or if you reach out to someone famous, they see that and it immediately clicks in their mind. You have access to all of these new people. I mean, I think about like my Twitter account now, I'm like one DM away from basically anyone. Because if they see my profile, they assume that I have done something at least to achieve that. Whether it's right or wrong, like they're probably wrong. I'm probably an idiot. But it works. There's this tendency to have all these timelines in life when you're young. And it really pisses me off now thinking about it because I spent so many years unhappy because I didn't get Forbes 30 under 30. Like that really bothered me. And it was still like, I was like, man, I can't believe, I was like 28. I was like, man, I haven't gotten that yet. What the hell am I doing?
Raj just got in.
Yeah, I know, I saw it. I texted him when I saw that. It's great, good for him. I'm not bitter. F that guy.
I'm not envious, but you've managed to get to almost 1 million on Twitter. So, I mean, for all of us here and everybody who'd be listening, if there are 3 things that you think that, hey, these are 3 things that you need to do to get started on Twitter, what would they be?
Develop a daily posting habit would be number 1. I think that's for any platform. Just getting into a habit of sharing regularly is really helpful. Find your community. I was really fortunate when I was just starting to create on Twitter that I met this cool group of people who were all at the same time doing that with. And then the third one is what I talked about earlier, which is just write about things you actually know and that you actually care about. So you have to find what works for you and figure out, what your own kind of version of that is going to be.
Awesome. Dude, like one final question before we kind of jump out. I heard you met the CEO of Apple, Tim Cook. How the hell does that happen? And I also read up that he mentored you. What's about all this?
So it's kind of a funny story. When I first started working at my first job, I knew I was going to be working long weeks and long hours. And I really cared about health and fitness. The only way I was going to be able to do that was if I went to the gym before work. I was like, okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going to wake up at 4. I'm going to get to the gym by 5. And then I'll get to work by 6:30. And because it was so early, there's only like 5 people that were there. And about 6 months in, I'd been talking to all of them every single morning. I was talking to this one gentleman and we left. And someone came up to me and said, do you know who that is? And I was like, one of the 5 guys that hangs out. I have no idea. I don't even know his name. We just talk every morning. And he was like, that's Tim Cook, the CEO of Apple. And I just said, oh, shit. Like, I've been talking to this guy for the last 6 months. I had no idea who he was. And he didn't wear glasses in the gym in the morning, so he didn't really look, he didn't look the way that he looks when he's on stage. But I wasn't in tech, so I had no idea. I was just talking to this guy. And so then, like, a couple mornings later, I had read some article about Tim, and I was talking to him about it. And I said, it was a great quote. And I got to the office that morning, and I was like, I'm going to try to email it to him. And I didn't have his email address, so I guessed his email and sent the article to him and said, here's what I was mentioning this morning. And he replied right away, said, thanks for sending it, like, super interesting. And then I thought, like, why not just like be super bold and send another one? And so then I just replied and asked if he'd be willing to get breakfast or get coffee and sort of answer some questions about career stuff. He was willing to. This is 2014, so it was before he was as famous as he is now. He was kind of the new CEO. But I think the fact that I hadn't known who he was and that I had just kind of talked to him genuinely was really helpful, because then we end up building like a very genuine relationship on the back of that starting point. And he's been an amazing mentor in my life. I mean, he's been super supportive of all the things I'm doing now, was really an integral integral part of me deciding to make this life change that I made towards what I'm working on now. So I'm very, very, very grateful for it and fortunate.
It's awesome, man.
Funny, like weird, showing up at the gym super early leads to something really lucky happening. So you never know.
So guys, wake up.
Yeah.
Our people have hard time, including me, hard time to be at office by 11.
I don't recommend waking up at 3:45. It was bad for my health overall. Anyway, it led to some good things.
For sure.
Yeah.
What a great story to say, right?
Yeah.
I met Tim Cook, but I didn't know who he was.
Yeah. I told him that later. I was like, I didn't know who you were for the first while, and he got a good laugh out of that. Yeah.
Awesome, man. This was great.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Appreciate
much.
it. Thank you.
Appreciate
Appreciate
it. So, do you guys want to click a picture?
See if we can get everyone in here. At GrowthSchool. What's up? Love it. Awesome.
I opened the Notion doc like 5 minutes before you came in.
I hadn't opened it yet, so it's good. Yeah, we were on the same page.